And we continue to monitor and update the key national races, including the presidential race and the battle for Congress. Thanks for joining us tonight on this special night. I'm Golston Dart.
And I'm Edie Lambert. We also know you're watching a lot of races across the state here in California, from statewide races to the city and county elections. KCRA 3's Lisa Gonzalez and our Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala are with us tonight. You can see their shoulders. They've been providing context and result as the numbers come in. Welcome, both of you.
Yeah, we're covering our local and state races here across California with live reports, and we're breaking it all down with our experts who are going to analyze this all for us. They're here in the studio with us, and results are starting to populate. We're starting to get a clearer picture by the minute of how these races are shaking out.
So let's start on the presidential front. The Associated Press now calling the battleground state of North Carolina for former President Trump. This is where the presidential race stands right now. So you can see Kamala Harris trailing in the battle for those electoral votes. They're each candidate trying to hit 270. And the race that was just called here is very important. Each one of those battleground states has been highly fought.
And California's Senate seat has been called for Representative Adam Schiff. You can see the spread in this race, not a surprise here with the former member of Congress now ascending to the Senate seat for the U.S. Senate in California.
So the polls have been closed now for an hour. Election staff are now very busy counting the ballots.
Yeah, Jason Marks is joining us right now. He's at the Sacramento County Registrar's office, and he's got a look at the count that is going on there. I hear some noise behind you.
Well, there's always noise right here at the Registrar's office on election night, but I can tell you the big noise is going to be here any minute. Take a look over here. This is the back of the building. The reason why I'm showing you this is where the ballots from all the 88 voting places here in Sacramento County will start driving up. Then they'll come out of here, and then they'll go and they'll start to get sorted and counted throughout the night. Lots of work to be done here. Ken Kasparis, who is from Sacramento County, is with me. And Ken, I know you've had a very long day. Talk to me about how much longer this night will become for you.
Well, we're going to be here until between 11 p.m. midnight, hopefully no later than that. So, yeah, we'll be here until all of those in-person, same-day vote center votes are counted.
Okay, so we're waiting, as Mason showed you, we're waiting for those ballots to be dropped off by car. Obviously, they're going to drive them from the polling places. And then what happens then? Take me through the process.
So the ballots that came from our vote centers, all of our ballot drop boxes, they will come into this facility. We'll check the chain of custody. We'll make sure that nothing has been tampered with. And then from there, we'll take the ballots out. We'll do what's necessary to get them processed and into tabulation.
Are these all volunteers?
Yeah, most of these people are volunteers, especially the people who return the ballots to us. And when I say volunteers, they're all paid. Most of them are county employees.
You know, always a big question when we talk about presidential elections, I guess with any elections, turnout. Where do we think we're going to be? You mentioned a couple of minutes ago to me that we were about 47% earlier. Where do you think we're going to end up?
So typically for a presidential general election, we're anywhere between like 74 and low 80%. So we're thinking and hoping that we'll wind up somewhere in there.
How does this, like, you know, if you go back 15, 20 years, those ballots would come in and they were all paper ballots, and they are all paper now, but how is it different when you have all the mail-in and you can drop off that ballot and you have them coming in days before? How does it make everything different on election night?
Yeah, so here in Sacramento County, we've been doing vote by mail for more than 20 years, so that's not anything we're not unfamiliar with. All of our ballots cast in Sacramento County are cast in paper, so they all run through that tabulator here at the Sacramento County Elections Office.
It's like the calm before the storm, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm waiting for them to get here.
Well, Ken, thank you so much. Yeah, those ballots will be coming here any minute, and then that's when all these workers will get really busy for the rest of the night. Now back to you guys.
All right, Jason, thank you. And again, Californians are electing a U.S. Senator this year to fill the seat that was held by Senator Dianne Feinstein. The Associated Press called this one early for Congressman Adam Schiff. We can show you those numbers right now. He currently leads 60-40. And you saw these candidates on your ballot twice. So the first is to fill the rest of Senator Feinstein's term, which is just a few more weeks. That has been held held by LaFonza Butler as a caretaker in that seat. And then the second vote was for a full 6-year term. So we want to go now to, I believe we're going to the Steve Garvey campaign, and we've got Michelle Bandura covering that. We understand he's expected to speak to his supporters any minute now.
That's right, Edie. Any minute we were told that Steve Garvey will take the stage to address his supporters. And, we've been hearing cheering throughout the night as the races have been called in favor of Republicans. But when they announced that Steve Garvey did lose this race to Adam Schiff, there were plenty of boos, and that mood did shift for a little bit. However, we spoke with Garvey earlier in the evening, and he was relaxed, calm, optimistic, confident, almost relieved that the campaigning was done, and now it's just the waiting game. And about around 8:30, we saw Garvey out here with his supporters, shaking hands, talking. He seemed very calm and relaxed as he was earlier when he was speaking with us. And so, we're just kind of waiting now to hear what he has to say about, this was his first Senate bid, right? His first race for the political office. And so he was asked, what would you do now, win or lose, when we spoke to him before the polls closed. And he didn't say if he would run again. He basically said that he learned a lot about serving the people, and quote, he says, I want to apply what I've learned and serve the people in as many ways as possible. And the first step has been to run for Senate. Now, is that the case in the future? It's a 6-year term. He'd be 81 years old, so not sure if that's a possibility, but maybe he will let us know some of his plans when he's supposed to take the stage here. We were told by his handlers that he would be on the stage at 9:05. We're still waiting for him, of course, to talk here tonight to his supporters. They have remained pretty jovial despite hearing the news that he did lose the race, as they are watching all of those Republican races and those results come in. But, we had talked to him earlier, like I said, before the polls closed, and he was saying that we asked him about how Trump actually had not endorsed him, basically saying he didn't know who he was, and he avoided talking about Trump and saying that his mentor was President Ronald Reagan, who he said that he was on the campaign trail with him one of his last campaigns. And so he spoke about Reagan, President Reagan, and his core beliefs. He said he asked him, what are your core beliefs? And he said Reagan told him it was God, lower taxes, smaller government. And he said that's what he believes in. And he also said he really wants California to have two choices here, not just one voice, running this campaign in a heavily blue state. And so he said he learned a lot, and he thinks Californians want to change, but we'll just have to see what he has to say. Obviously, they voted for Schiff and voted against him and elected Adam Schiff. So we're just waiting to see what Steve Garvey has to say, as he was supposed to be on the stage about 3 minutes ago. So I think for now we'll just head back to you in Sacramento, and as we wait for Steve Garvey here to take the stage and address his supporters here. Reporting live near Palm Desert, Michelle Bandura, KCRA 3 News.
Right, Michelle, we'll check back when that happens. And we should mention that Steve Garvey was really trying to distance himself in the state of California from President Trump, from MAGA, did not seek that endorsement, wouldn't even say whether he was going to vote for former President Trump until very recently. So he was trying to walk that line, appeal to moderate Democrats in addition to Republicans.
I remember former President Trump kind of bristled at, when he was asked about if he's going to support Steve Garvey. He's like, well, he did not reach out to MAGA. I think that's what he said.
Yeah.
So
he said he's got no chance if he doesn't reach out to MAGA.
There you go.
Let's say this, though, that Garvey lost the election tonight, but he is up for the National Baseball Hall of Fame in December. So he may win that one. Of course, a former star with the Dodgers and the Padres, and very beloved to Southern California baseball fans.
Well, let's go to Andrea Flores right now. She's with the Adam Schiff Group, their celebration headquarters there in Los Angeles at the Marriott. And it looks like people are starting to pile in there and kind of wish their guy the congratulations that he is going to get tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned earlier this evening around 8 o'clock, things were very quiet when we first were here live in Los Angeles. Again, we're in the heart of downtown LA right now at LA Live, the JW Marriott. This is the headquarters for the California Democratic Party. We want to send it back to you now because we have some breaking news.
All right, thanks for that, Andrea. We're still waiting to hear from Steve Garvey. We understand that there's some other people right now up on the stage. So let's go back to Palm Desert, and there is the man right there, Steve Garvey, getting some hugs from some of his supporters and his wife.
Jeff, we're going to get to that in just a second. Jeff, thank you so much. This young man who started in politics just about 7, 8 years ago, I guess, has come a tremendous way. He's what we talk about when we talk about great young men and women getting involved in politics, conservative politics. God bless you. You've run a great race. Thank you. So first of all, honey, how long ago when we first walked into Joy Meidecke's wonderful shop and asked her, we're thinking about running. Can you help us? And from that moment to tonight, it has been a journey. But I want to thank Joy and all the women, Heidi, because you have truly been the wind beneath our wings. And we love you for that.
And as we're covering the U.S. Senate race here in California, the winner of this race, Adam Schiff, is now speaking to his supporters as well, also in Southern California in Los Angeles. Let's listen in.
And whatever the result of the presidential race, we know there will be serious challenges facing the state of California and the country. Regardless of the outcome, regardless of the way people may have voted, I want to make one thing clear. As your senator, I am committed to standing up for every Californian. I am committed to taking on the big fights to protect our freedoms and to protect our democracy. California will continue to be at the forefront of progress, the bulwark of democracy, the champion of innovation, and the protector of our rights and freedoms. We are a big, beautiful, diverse, and generous state. We look out for each other. We stand up for each other. We extend our hands to lift up each other. We celebrate and appreciate our different backgrounds and cultures. I've seen it firsthand. From the first day I launched this campaign to the visits I've made to nearly every corner of the Golden State. From meeting with local leaders in the border community of Calexico to seeing the restoration of redwoods north of Willits, I've met the most amazing people all across California. I've listened to your concerns, I've heard your fears, I've shared your hopes, and imagined the future that you want to see for yourselves and for your children. And because of this, every day I woke up energized and hopeful. In Bakersfield, I met with entrepreneurs who turned their passion into successful small businesses that had lifted up their communities. In Salinas, I heard from farm workers who toiled in the fields from sunrise to sundown, rain or shine, to ensure that families across the country had food on their tables. In Oakland, I felt the joy and energy of an early morning service at the Allen Temple Baptist Church. In Merced, I sat down with college students and heard about the careers they were building for themselves. In Lakewood, I saw firsthand the hard and rewarding labor of child care providers. I witnessed their patience, their kindness, and the love that they bring to their work. Our state has its struggles, like every state, but none are insurmountable because we are the Golden State, and we get big things done. And my promise to you is that I'm going to deliver on day one, week one, year one, and keep on delivering for this amazing state. because together there is no challenge that we cannot overcome. We leave no community behind. We do not stop, we do not rest until all our citizens have a safe place to live, clean water to drink, clean air to breathe, safe neighborhoods to raise their children, good hospitals, clinics, and health care, and the best public schools in the world. In pursuit of this dream for all our people, I will not rest, California. In the Senate, I will be a champion and voice for all Californians, whether you voted for me or not, whether you live in the big city or a small county, whether you grew up here or came to America searching for a better life. We are going to build more affordable housing so that you aren't forced to choose between your rent and putting food on the table. We are going to ensure that our fellow neighbors do not have to sleep on the street. We are going to help hardworking families by lowering costs. We are going to fight tooth and nail to protect abortion access and defend democracy and our freedoms. We are going to bring resources and jobs back to the Golden State to create opportunity for all Californians. We're going to fight on behalf of our dream workers, our farm workers, our immigrant families, so they no longer have to live in the shadows. We are going to protect our planet, fight climate change, and bring good-paying green jobs here to California. It is a big task, I know, but we can do it because we are going to do it together. I am determined to fight every single day on behalf of this great state and its great people, and I am so thankful for your trust and your support, and I can't wait to do this job with you together. I want to thank my incredible wife, Eve, and yes, we are Adam and Eve. My kids, Lexi and Eli. Lexi's boyfriend, Eric, gets a shout out. My brother, Daniel, and his wife, Amy. My brother, David, and his family. My nieces and my nephews, and of course, the one the world revolves around, baby Maya. I could not have done this without your endless love and support, and it's so wonderful to get to celebrate with you tonight. Eve, I don't know where to begin, but this Adam would be lost without this Eve. I love you, and I'm grateful to you for your strength and love. Lexi and Eli, being your dad is my favorite job in the world. I love you, and I am so proud of you. And I also want to acknowledge my mother and father, Cheryl and Ed Schiff. While they're no longer with us, I wouldn't be standing here but for their love and guidance and support. My father lived to be 96. He passed earlier this year. And I so wish he could be here with us tonight. Dad, give Mom a hug and tell her I hope she's still not upset with me for not being a doctor. I also want to thank every volunteer and supporter who made calls, sent texts, knocked on doors, and chipped in a few bucks, because your hard work not only made this Senate race possible, but you are going to deliver the House of Representative majority to Hakeem Jeffries tonight. And I want to thank Nancy Pelosi, the greatest of all time, the most incredible speaker in our history, for her friendship, her mentorship, her leadership. There was no one who stood more in the breach defending our democracy than Nancy Pelosi, and I thank you. We set out to build the largest grassroots campaign in California history, and I think we hit the mark. To my wonderful staff, I thank you. You are all dedicated public servants who have committed countless hours, nights, weekends to this effort, and this victory is also yours. To my wonderful constituents in the 30th Congressional District who have supported me for over 25 years, I cannot thank you enough for your confidence and the honor of representing you. I hope that I have served you well and made you proud. And to my new constituents all over the state, Whether you voted for me or not, I am committed to being a champion for every Californian in every corner of this wonderful state. California, I thank you for your trust. I am grateful to serve as your U.S. Senator. Now, let's get to work. Thank you, California. Thank you, everyone. God bless this state and country. Thank you so much.
All right, there you have it as we watch your newly minted U.S. Senator-elect there talk to his crowd of supporters there in Los Angeles. Adam Schiff enjoying the moment as he should. And as all this was playing out, I'm joined now by our political analysts, Kimberly and Dwight, and just talk a little bit about what we just learned, which was the Associated Press is now reporting that the U.S. Senate has now flipped for the Republicans. This happening now as Adam Schiff assumes his new role as a senator here. So the calculus changes a little bit. The pieces on the chessboard changes, obviously, for when you're a member of the Senate, but not in the majority. So that will be interesting, even if he has a President Harris to work with.
Yeah. So what that means is that Senators Padilla and Schiff are now officially our point guards on the front lines of the resistance, really blocking and defending and advancing California values, including our freedoms around reproductive justice, our abortion rights, the environment, our LGBTQ community. So they really are the point guards blocking and defending.
Yeah. And Dwight, I mean, a different game. Supposing it is another Trump administration, you have the Republicans in the majority in the Senate now, of which Adam Schiff is not a part of.
Well, it shows also that the Republicans recruited some great candidates in those states and defending the issues that are very important: border security, high cost of living, inflation, affordable housing. When you're in the minority, yeah, you have to be a little bit more agile as far as how you deal with the whole public policy arena. If it is President Trump is fortunate to get reelected, then Mr. Schiff and Mr. Padilla will have to also compromise with President Trump to work on some of those issues as well.
Let's talk a little bit about just now the shift in power, if you will. We, for many years, had the two senators basically from the Bay Area. And now you have our two U.S. senators from California, from Southern California. And so what changes for us here?
In the Bay Area?
Yeah.
Well, I think that means that we need to put pressure on those two senators to ensure that they are senators for the entire state of California. I think that Senators Feinstein and when Senator Harris, or when Vice President Harris was a senator, did a really good job of making sure they traveled the entire state to really make sure they were hearing from all of California. So we need to make sure that Senators Schiff and Padilla continue to do that.
Okay. Kimberly Ellis, Dwight Williams, thank you very much. We'll be checking back with you throughout the night. Edie, back to you.
All right, Golston, thank you. And right now we are watching Prop 36, which has now been called by the Associated Press. You can see voters chose yes on Prop 36 by a very wide margin, 71% to 29%, with 41% of the vote in. And again, the Associated Press calling this one. This is a criminal justice proposition that would increase penalties for fentanyl dealers and some theft crimes by bumping them up from misdemeanors to felonies. And it basically undoes part of an earlier Proposition 47 that was approved a decade ago, which loosened some penalties. So you can see the voters are really swinging in a different direction a decade later. All right, let's check in now on the race for Sacramento mayor. And we're seeing the numbers staying about the same as more numbers come in. You can see Kevin McCarty with the lead over Flojean Cofer, Dr. Flo, as she has called herself during the campaigning, 56 to 44%. She would be, we'll see how the numbers come in. She was running to be the city's first black female mayor. She's the first person to announce her candidacy back in April before we even knew what Mayor Steinberg was going to do with that seat. So let's go now to Leanne Danier. She is at Dr. Flo Cofer's headquarters at DOCO.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to start by saying, for transparency's sake, Dr. Flokhofer is actually speaking to her supporters right now. We tried to bring that to you live, but we just couldn't get a signal from where she was talking. So we just rushed back over here to check in with you quickly. But as you can see, there are quite a few people here. They are listening to Dr. Cofer give her remarks to this large crowd here at Tipsy Putt. Dr. Cofer is a public health professional, and she says that she is so grateful to her supporters and to what she described as the change agents in the crowd who are here with her right now. She said that more is possible. That was sort of the theme that she was talking about before we stepped away, talking about how every system that's not working in the city of Sacramento can be changed. So right now she is addressing her supporters. We've come a long way since the primary, when this was a tight race between 4 candidates, now down to Dr. Cofer and Kevin McCarty. We'll send it on back to you.
All right, Leanne, thank you.
All right, well, one competitive House race that we've been watching, that's District 13. We're talking about the Central Valley. We're going to check in on the campaigns of Adam Gray and John Duarte. I know you've seen the commercials. We'll talk more about that coming up next.